A very good afternoon, dear students. I hope you all are safe at your place. I, Professor Sonal Agrawal, welcome you all on the digital platform of Agarwal Vidya Vihar English Medium College. This is the lecture for the subject Banking Law and Practice Paper 1. What we did in the last lecture, I just want to brief out in short that in the last lecture we have started the topic that is the banker's obligation to honor the check. In that we have discussed the basic ingredients that if these conditions are fulfilled, then the banker is under the legal obligation to pass the check or to the honor the check of the customer. After that, we discussed about these ingredients is found in a particular sentence according to the section number 31 of the Negotiable Instrument Act. Here, on the request of some of the students that I am going to revise the section number 31 of Negotiable Instrument Act. That according to the Negotiable Instrument Act, you can see one paragraph is you can see on the screen. Just read this paragraph once. Then I am going to explain this paragraph. Then here the drawee of the check having sufficient fund of the drawer in his hand. Drawee means the banker, drawer means the customer. Clear? The drawee of the check means the person who is writing the check having sufficient fund of the drawer. Having sufficient fund of the drawer in his hand means the banker must be having a sufficient fund in the account of the customer. Then the properly applicable to the payment of such check. Why it is properly applicable word used here? According to the rules of writing the check is written in a proper form. The second thing that no legal obligation should be there on the account of the customer. Then only the banker is under the legal application or the legal obligation to pass this check. Must pay the check when duly required so to do. When the banker has to pay the check when it is required so to do according to the instruction of the customer. Suppose the customer has given a post-dated check. The check must be paid after 3 to 5 days according to the date written on the check. So the banker has to pay the check according to the date written on the check, not before the date written of the check. Then, in the default of such payment, must compensate the drawer for any loss or the damages caused by such default. Clear? In default of such payment, suppose I have written the today's date, and on today, if the banker fails to pay the amount from my bank to someone according to the instruction of my check, so in that situation, the banker is liable to pay me the compensation if any financial loss or the damage occurred. Clear? But the condition is that the loss must be financial loss or the reputation loss of the in case of businessman or the trader. And the second rule is about that the person or the customer must be able to prove that loss. Clear? If the customer is not able to prove that loss, then the banker is not liable to pay the compensation. So these all the things that we have discussed here as the basic condition, these all the four conditions are written on a single sentence of the section number 31 of the Negotiable Instrument Act. Clear? So it is so simple. Just what you have to do, read it twice here, and just bifurcate in this paragraph into a part. Then you will be understood in a better way. After that, we have discussed that the wrongful dishonor of a check, what are the conditions we discussed. Then we discussed the meaning of the wrongful dishonor of the check in the last lecture, that if the failure of a bank to honor a valid check and the payable bill of exchange or negotiable instrument within a statutory period or the period which is given by the or instructed by the customer. Here, if the bank's customer suffer any provable harm means the customer can prove the financial loss, then the banker must be liable for their damages. We have discussed this thing in detail in the last lecture. Now what we are going to do in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about these precautions that the banker has to take care or has to keep in mind before the dishonoring a customer's check. Why? Because if the dishonor is wrongful dishonor, then the customer will claim for the loss and the banker is under the legal obligation to pay the compensation to the customer. So before dishonoring the check of a customer, some of the points that the banker should take as a precaution. So which are these? The first one is about the transaction in the wrong account. Here, the banker should make sure that the customer's account has not been debited by mistake with any checks drawn on the other account. Clear? If this is so, then the banker is liable for the compensation to pay to the customer. Clear? Again, I am repeating what is meant by this transaction in wrong account here. Before dishonoring the check of the customer, the banker should make sure that the customer account has not been debited. Debited means the amount should not be deducted from the wrong account. Here, by mistake with any check which is actually drawn in another account. If this is so, then the banker must be liable for the compensation to according to the financial loss which is faced by the customer. Suppose, for an example, the check of 50,000 rupees has drawn on the account of Mr. X, but by mistake the banker cut the balance of 50,000 rupees from the account of Mr. Y. In that situation, what the banker has to do, the banker has to try to minimize this loss. Again, the banker must be credit the account of the Mr. Y with the same amount 50,000, but till the amount is wrongly debited from the account of the Mr. Y. So if any financial loss is occurred, suppose because of that wrongful deduction of balance, the actual check which is drawn on in the account of Mr. Y is rejected. And because of that rejection of check, the market reputation of the Mr. Y is going to be down, as he is a businessman or he is a trader. So in that situation, the banker is able to give, the banker is obliged, or the banker is responsible to give the financial loss to the Mr. Y. Again, I am repeating the same example. Suppose in the account of Mr. Y, the balance is 60,000. Just listen carefully the example. In the account of Mr. Y, the balance is 60,000, and one check is drawn in the account of Mr. X with the amount of 50,000. Because of wrongful transaction in the account of Mr. Y, that 50,000 check which is actually drawn in the account of Mr. X is debited from the account of Mr. Y. Now the balance left in the account of Mr. Y is 60,000 minus 50,000 debited wrongly. So total just 10,000 balance is left in the account of Mr. Y. The Mr. Y has brought a check of 15,000 from his account, but now the actual balance is just 10,000. Why? Because 50,000 is wrongly debited in the account of Mr. Y. So of course the check of 50,000 is going to be rejected. Because of that rejection of actual check, which is the rightful one, to be clear, because of that rejection, if any financial loss or the reputation loss is faced by the Mr. Y, then the banker is liable to compensate the loss. So before rejecting the check, the banker has to check, then the banker has to make sure that any amount which should not be debited in the account of wrong person or the wrong account by mistake. The second is in case of post-dated check. If any post-dated check is drawn by the customer, then the banker should keep in mind, the banker must make sure that there should not be post-dated check drawn by the customer should not be premature debited. Suppose today is 17th and I wrote a check on 20. And I present the check on the same date 70 today in my bank or in my bank branches. Clear? So according to my instruction, the check should be clear on 20 clear or after 20. Why? Because I have mentioned the date 20 July 2020 on the particular check. But by mistake, the banker debit the same check in my account or from my account today. So this is known as the premature debited. Clear? The amount must be debited from my account only. Yes, of course, yes, but it should be debited on 20. It should not be debited before 20th July. So this is known as the premature debit from my account. The account is right. My account should be right, but it is a premature debit. So because of this premature debit, if any loss is faced by me, then the banker is responsible to compensate this loss. Suppose another check is written by me on my accounts, and because of that premature debit, the check which should be clear on 17th is bound. Clear? Is rejected. Why? Because now there is no balance in the account. So because of that premature debit, my second check is rejected, and because of that reason, if any financial loss or the reputation loss is faced by me, then the banker is, you can say, under the legal obligation to pay the compensation to me. I hope it is clear. So in case of premature check, the banker should keep in mind in case of post-dated check, the banker should keep in mind that post-dated check should not be premature debited. I hope you know the meaning of post-dated check. What do you mean by post-dated check? The check should be clear on the future date, or you can say the check where the future date is written. So it is known as the post-dated check. So in case of post-dated check, it should not be premature debit from the account of the customer. And the third one is about the missed out of any regular transaction. Suppose the banker should keep in mind, and the banker should make sure that the no regular credits, such like a salary, are missing from the customer's account. If such credits are missing, so he should check to see whether they have been credited in another customer's account or not. Here, suppose for an example, salaried person are going to receive the salary of the same amount generally for a particular period of time every month. If any month the banker can see that the salary is not credited in the account of the customer, so the banker has to check why this is so. What are the reason of non-credited of the salary? Whether the salary is not paid by the employer, or whether the salary is credited in the wrong account of someone else. So these types of clearance the banker has to make sure here, because of that wrong credited, the amount which should be credited in the account of the customer is wrongly credited to someone else in the account of someone else. So because of that wrong credit, if any loss occurred by the customer, or if any financial loss proven by the customer, then the banker is responsible for this loss. And according to the section number 31 of the Negotiable Instrument Act, the banker is liable to pay the compensation. So these all are the basic precautions that banker should keep in mind before dishonoring the check of the customer. It is very, very simple, and it is very understood. This is the end of the topic, that is the banker's obligation to honor the check of the customer. Clear? We have discussed this topic in detail. Here we discuss the first thing, the banker's duty to honor the check. After that we discuss some of the basic ingredients, or if it is fulfilled, then only the banker is liable to honor or pass the check of the customer. After that we discuss the topic, that is the subtopic of this topic, that about wrongful dishonor of a check. That we discuss the meaning of the wrongful dishonor. What are the circumstances in that the check is called dishonored wrongfully, and what are the precautions that banker should keep in mind before dishonoring the check of the customer. So these all points we have discussed till now. Now we are going to start with the next topic, that is the banker's obligation to maintain the secrecy of customer's account, or it is also known as the banker's duty of secrecy. Again, this is answered from the examination point of view. So here what this rule says, what this obligation says, that the banker is under an obligation that not to disclose any information intentionally or by mistake regarding the accounts of the customer to any third party, and also to take the necessary precautions that care should be ensured no such information should be leaked out from any other sources about the account of the customer. Here, so this should be the you can say the duty of the banker. What I just say, I am repeating again the meaning of banker's duty of secrecy. Just listen me carefully, that the banker is under the legal obligation to not to disclose any information about the customer's account, whether it is intentionally or whether it is by mistake. If any information is released to third party about the account of the customer, then the banker is responsible for it. The precautions must be taken care by the banker that such information should not be leaked out from the account books also. Not by the banker, but sometimes the account book may leak the information of the customer. So this is not done with the banking transaction, with the banking activity. Why? Because banking business, it is a very confidential business between the banker and customer. All the information about the you can say the financial information about the customer is in the hand of the banker, and that information must be kept secret by the banker. So here the meaning is written for you, that what do you mean by the banker's duty of secrecy? It is the bank's duty not to disclose to the third party any information about the customer. Whatever just I said, the same thing is written here. The banker should not disclose any information about the account of the customer to any third party. It should not be intentionally, or it should not be by mistake. Even the banker is released the information by mistake to third party, then also the banker is responsible for it. Any violation of the duty of secrecy can result in the bank being sued by the bank customer. If any information about the account of the customer is leaked by the banker, whether again I am repeating whether it is intentionally or by mistake, if any information is leaked by the banker, then the customer can sue the banker in court. And for this violation of the duty of secrecy, the banker is responsible for it. Again, the same meaning is written so that you can understood the meaning in a better way about the banker's duty of secrecy, that it is one of the implied term. Why it is not implied term of contract? Why it is called implied term? It should not be need to be expressed on a paper or piece of paper. Here, if it is not expressed, even though the banker is under the obligation to maintain the secrecy of customers' accounts, the banker cannot escape from the duty to maintain the secrecy on the ground of basis that it is not written on the contract. It is an implied one. What do you mean by implied one? It is an understood one. The banker has to perform this duty whether it is written on contract or not. It is an implied term of the contract. Obliged to keep the affairs of the customer secret. Affairs of his customers. Here, affairs of the accounts. Here, the affairs means the transaction of the accounts. Here, the transaction of the account of the customer must be kept as a secret even after the account is closed. So here, this is one of the most important terms, that even the account of the customer is closed with the banker, even though the past records of the customer's account must be kept secret. This is not so if the customer has closed the account, then the banker is free to disclose any information to any third party. No, this is not so. The banker has to maintain the information of account of the customer even if it is closed, and extend after the customer's death. Even the customer of the bank is died. On that situation also, the customer cannot disclose the information to third party. Duty is a legal one. It is not merely a moral one. It is not the moral duty of the banker. It is a legal duty of the banker. I hope you know the meaning of the moral duty and legal duty. And breach of it would result in the damages. Here, if the banker is not able to maintain this duty of secrecy, then breach of it will result in the damages, whether it is nominal one or substantial one. But these damages, here whether it is nominal or substantial, this damages for these damages the banker is responsible and the customer can sue him in a court. I hope it is clear. Banker's duty to maintain the secrecy of customer's account, even if the account is closed, even if the customer is died. It should not be intentionally, or it should not be by mistake. By any way, the banker should not disclose any information of the customer's account to any third party. Now there are some of the exceptions of the duty of secrecy. Sometimes, according to the rules and regulation, it is compulsory to disclose some of the information of the account to third parties. So, of course, the rule says that not to disclose any information to any third party, but sometimes some exceptions the banker has to follow according to the some of the rules and regulations. So, first exception is that disclosure is under compulsion of law. Okay? Sometimes, according to the rules and regulation, according to the legal terminology, it is bound to disclose the information. Yeah, so the banker has to disclose the information if it is compulsory by law. The second is where the duty, where there is a duty to the public to disclose. Here, sometimes it is a public responsibility to disclose the information about the customer's account. In that situation, the customer has to disclose the information. The third situation is there where the interest of the bank requires the disclosure. Sometimes the bank, according to the interest of the bank, this is necessary that the information must be disclosed. Otherwise, the banker may face the loss. So, if this is so, the banker can disclose the information. The next is that where the disclosure is made by express or implied consent of the customer. When the customer give the permission to disclose the information, whether this permission is expressed one or the implied one. Again, I am repeating, the express means written permission, and implied means oral permission, clear, or understood permission. So, if whether it is express permission by the customer or whether it is implied consent by the customer, if this type of consent is given by the customer to disclose the information, then the banker can disclose the information of the customer's account. Clear? I hope it is clear to you. Now we are going to discuss these 4 points in detail in the next lecture. Here we are going to discuss these points in detail. These 4 exceptions. that in that situation the banker can disclose the information of the customer's account to the third party. Till then, try to make very clear about the meaning of the banker's duty to maintain the secrecy of customer's account. I have tried my best to make the meaning very clear. I have written here two meanings for you, and I have explained the other meanings in my words also. I have tried my best that the meaning should be very clear, because as per my opinion, all the topic is based on meaning. Yeah? If the meaning is very clear to you, then only the other topics, other contents of the topics will be very easy to you. If the meaning is not clear with you in your mind, then the other contents will not be also very clear to you. So try. I am always focusing on the meaning of the topic. Clear? If the meaning is clear, then you are able to understand the other contents in a better way. So just try to make the meaning very clear about the banker's duty to maintain the secrecy. Here, which types of secrecy? Here we are talking about the secrecy of the transactions of the customer's account, whether it is any type of account, whether it is current account, savings account, recurring account, fixed deposit account, any type of account customer is having, or any type of customer, whether it is minor, whether it is joint account, whether it is individual account, whether it is loan account. Clear? Any type of account, any type of customer. Clear? Whether it is senior citizen, whether it is retired one, individual one, joint one, or whether it is joint Hindu family, whether it is the trust one. Clear? Any type of customer. This is the duty of a banker to maintain the secrecy of customers' account. So some types of exceptions are there. These exceptions we are going to discuss in next lecture. Till then, stay home, stay safe. I shared the material with you also. Clear? Just find the materials and soon there will be assignments of you. We are planning for the assignments. So just try to make the things very clear and now start reading seriously, because now it is a high time. The second chapter is going to be over. Clear? It is almost half of the chapter is done. Only 1-2 topic is left to cover. So just try to make the things very clear. Now start reading seriously. Now we are going to meet in the next lecture. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Have a good day. Thank you.